Hey there, welcome back to Joyful Scaling. A big question that women ask me all the time is, how can I get more leads? Or how can I get better leads? And you know what? That's really a loaded question because there is no quick one size fits all answer. Strategy is definitely involved. There is a specific way to approach lead gen that is actually simple. And yes, dare I say, fun. So I decided to break this down step by step in an upcoming free masterclass. It happens on Friday, December 10th, and it's called Lead Generation Made Simple: How to Find and Sign the Very Best Clients. So mark your calendars. This is going to happen live on Zoom. We're going to be together, and at the end, there's going to be time for a live Q&A, maybe even a hot seat experience. So do not miss this. Get signed up. Find out all the details at bit.ly/leadgenmadesimple. Check out the show notes for the exact URL, and I can't wait to see you there. Well, today's podcast is kind of a quickie little bonus, but it packs a powerful punch. Today, I'm sharing with you 3 things you've got to do this week to get organized. That's right. I want you to gain back hours in your schedule and ultimately generate more revenue. And it starts with being organized. Now, organization means many things to different people, right? It could be filing. It could be getting your receipts for business expenses organized, or maybe something as simple as cleaning your desk. But today, as I said, I'm sharing 3 things that they're pretty basic, right? But I want you to commit to doing each of them this week. Now, each of these requires a small change in the way you do things, starting today and then continuing as you move forward. Okay. Now, I could have given you a list of 10, probably 20, but I wanted to give you just a couple because I didn't want to overwhelm you, because I want you to get into taking action without excuse. Okay. That's what I wanted you to do. I want to get you to take action on these 3 simple things to get organized. Okay. And if you do, in very short order, you're going to see how easy it is to not only get organized, but to be organized in the day-to-day running of your business. Okay. Now, even if you tell yourself, I'm not good at organization. Okay. No. That's just a thought. Okay. Well, if that is you and you hear yourself tell yourself, or maybe it's the enemy whispering in your ear, you're not very good at staying organized. Who do you think you are? Okay. That is just a thought. It is something that you tell yourself. It is not a fact. It is not a done deal. Okay. Trust me, you can be organized. You got to decide to be, believe that you can, and then take action on it. Okay. When you do, I know you're going to be super proud of yourself and your business is going to be better for it. And because you're going to be more organized and you're going to see how easy it is, okay, it's going to be likely that you'll implement other organizational habits. Small things can really be compounded over time and make a big difference. And all of that in turn is going to absolutely impact your bottom line with more revenue, as well as more time in your days and weeks, okay? As you take full advantage of the opportunities that previously slipped through your fingers in the way of wasted time and wasted dollars when you were not organized, okay? So are you excited to learn these 3 organizational habits? And even better than learning, are you ready to actually implement them? I hope you've said yes to whatever you're listening on right now. Okay. So let's get started. Okay. Organizational habit number 1. Before I actually tell you what it is, I want to see if this scenario sounds familiar. Do you have a bunch of notebooks? Do you love notebooks? I love notebooks. But do you have a bunch of notebooks that you use every day? Maybe 1 or 2 are in your office, another one downstairs in the kitchen or the family room, maybe even another one in your car. Okay. Or have you been known to take notes when you're on a consult or something like that, or a collab call on copy paper because you couldn't find your notebook? Or even worse, not copy paper, but maybe a sticky note. Okay. If that's you, no shame. I have to confess that was me. Okay. So if that's you, no shame, but let's get you out of that. Okay. Because organizational habit number 1 is simply this: commit to taking better notes. Okay. Write that out. Habit number 1, I'm going to commit from today forward to taking better notes and keeping my notes organized. Now, listen, if you use notebooks, you like that. Heck, I do. I find that much better than using Google Docs, which I can't find, right? If you like notebooks, then buy a bunch at a time and then decide, I love the word decide how you're going to use each one. Okay. Maybe you're going to use one notebook at a time. And, you're just going to, okay, I'm going to start with my green notebook, for example, or this pretty one with the flowers on it, whatever it looks like. Okay. And I am going to start using this one. And as I go through my day, whatever it is, when I have consults, when I think about like future marketing or promotional type things, whatever it is, I'm just going to use one notebook. When I'm done with that one, great. Then I'm going to put that where I know where it is, that kind of thing. But maybe you want to instead use one notebook for your consults, another notebook for your planning and goal setting, and yet another for your team meetings, and so on. Whatever the system that you want to use, that's great. Create it and then maintain it. Okay. Now let me go back to suggest something. If you like the idea of using one notebook and going through page by page, kind of sequentially as you go through your days and weeks, that's fine. Make sure that at the top of each page, you put the date, you clearly indicate the topic or the person that you're talking to. And, if you, like me, take really like lots of notes, maybe you have to, at the end of the day, set time aside to go through those notes to make sure you can read them. Okay. And I'm kind of segueing into a future one, but okay. So organizational habit number 1, commit to taking better notes and keeping them better organized. As I said, whatever the system, you might say, you know what? I don't use notebooks. What are you talking about? Okay, great. Where are your notes? Are they on a Google Doc? Can you find what you need like that? Okay. Create the system if you don't yet have it, and then maintain it. Okay. Organizational habit number 2. I need you to file your paperwork. I need you to file your papers. Okay. Whatever those papers look like, maybe those notes, maybe you don't want to keep it in a notebook. And actually, as a practical matter, it's probably going to be better to maybe at the end of a week, or maybe daily. It's up to you how you create the system, but maybe you want to, at the end of a week, for example, go through that notebook or those notebooks, and you're going to staple, the pages, if there's more than one related to one topic, and you're going to put them in manila folders, and you're going to get that organized, and you're going to commit to getting organized and staying organized. Okay. But filing your paperwork, not only taking great notes, but then putting them in a system that works for you, whether it's online or whether it's offline. Okay. And trust me, manila folders work just as well as Google Drive. So don't let anybody, kind of shame you and say, oh my goodness, how old school are you? Yeah. If that works, go with it. Okay. So organizational habit number 1 was what? Commit to taking better notes, right? Staying organized. Okay. Organizational habit number 2 is do your filing, whatever that looks like. Get that system set up. And organizational habit number 3 is clean up the loose ends at the end of every workday. Okay. Organizational habit number 3 is clean up the loose ends at the end of every workday. What does that mean? Well, I don't know. It depends on how your workday goes on, right? And what you produce in that workday, which would indicate, how do I clean that up? I'll give you this example. If you sit at your desk and you, like me, like taking notes in a notebook, okay? Or maybe you make notes for yourself on sticky notes just as you're thinking of them, or whatever it looks like. Maybe you, instead of doing that, maybe you use your notes on your iPhone, and at the, you're looking, you're like, oh, later on, days and weeks later, you can't find what you're looking for. You need to come up with a system that works. And what I'm saying here on organizational habit number 3 is at the end of every workday, clean up those loose ends. That could mean clean off your desk. That could mean answer that last email. That could mean make that phone call that you've been putting off till tomorrow today. Okay. Do it that day at the end of the day, leaving it to tomorrow. And it may actually take several days to get back to it if you ever do. Okay. Because with every day you don't do something that you intended, do you know that it's harder for you to actually do it, because then there's guilt associated with not doing it when you really should have done it. And then you're like, oh gosh, so-and-so was expecting me to call them 3 days ago. Oh, I would be foolish to call them now because we make up these stories in our minds. And that is why I'm suggesting that you clean up those loose ends at the end of every workday. You're not going to remember if you don't, for example, if you have a bunch of papers or sticky notes that are all over your desk. Imagine if you don't do it at the end of every day, by Saturday, you have piles that are so many, they're almost uncountable. And can you imagine, you're like, ooh, you look at it. Ooh, what does that chicken scratch even mean? I don't even remember what I was saying or what it relates to. Does that ring any bells? Okay. Or if you actually, kind of sort of haphazardly go through your piles, it's going to take you time to get back into what you were doing or what you started if it's days after. Do you understand what I'm saying? At the end of every day, we need to wrap things up in a bow so that we know where things are, we know where to find them, we know what we completed, and we know what still needs to be done. So this idea of cleaning up loose ends at the end of the day also includes calendaring what the next step is, right? That might be follow-up, that might be a phone call in some way, it might be an email, it might be some other action that you need to take in follow-up to a conversation you had or a plan that you've made, and so on. Okay. So, I'm giving you this guidance, and you might be saying, okay, because I like to anticipate what you might be thinking. So you might say, okay, great. So Judy says, get more organized with my notes. Okay. File, and then clean up loose ends. Well, she tells me to create a system. Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to do. Okay. Listen to me. This really could be the most valuable, practical business advice that I could ever give you. Okay. So turn up the volume. I'm going to let you know a little secret. You need to stop overthinking the how. And I tell you that with love, sister, because I love you, because I know from experience that was me. I got so wrapped up in the how that sometimes I would just feel this overwhelm kind of overtake me, and it would just leave me feeling like I just wanted to walk away. Like, I don't even want to begin to create a quote unquote system, because I don't know how to do it, and I don't know what it looks like, and I don't know, anything about it. And it's just overwhelming. So I'm just going to keep doing things the way I've been doing them, because, business is going pretty well on its own. And, I'm sure I'm missing things, and things slip through the cracks, but that's okay, because this idea of creating systems, as Judy just said, these organizational habits just kind of make me crazy. So instead, I'm going to say, la, 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 cover my ears and keep going. I want to implore you not to allow that to happen. Okay. Because a system is just like a fancy word. I think that we tend to, and I think the enemy loves to tell us this, we tend to think, ooh, I can't figure that out on my own. Like, I don't know. What is the right way to organize? What is the right way to create this system that Judy's talking about? Let me tell you something. What may work for me may not work for you. And what may work for, the biggest organizational guru out there may not work for you and me. And that is why I'm suggesting that, I don't have to tell you the how. And in fact, I don't think I could. What I've done here, ladies, is I have identified 3 systems, and I'm using that as a big word, but how about you think of it this way? 3 habits that I need you to implement in your life. And I can't tell you how to best do that. I've given you in this episode a couple of things to think about. And so the implementation would look like this. You take the notes from today's session, and in the next, 5 minutes, as soon as you get off of listening to this, go to your calendar and choose 1 hour or 30 minutes of when you're going to begin to think through at least one of these organizational habits. Okay. Maybe one stood out as yikes. Whew, when Judy said that. Yeah. That's kind of been on my to-do list now for like ever. Okay. So how to implement, choose one of these 3, just one. This one change could be the start of something amazing for you going forward and give you that confidence to create a system that works to get you more organized so that you can have more time in your day. You can feel more efficient and productive in your day. Okay, so pick one. Are you going to commit to being a better, more efficient note taker and getting the things filed? Or, outside of notes, are you going to finally get yourself organized and clear off your desk and file your papers and have that in a way that makes sense? Your papers, whether they're online or offline. Or finally, are you going to create a system, quote unquote, about how to finish your workday? And that could be at 3 p.m. That could be at midnight. I can't tell you. There's no right or wrong. Okay. But I'm really, really excited to bring this to you because I know that when you calendar, when you're going to sit and think through what has to happen for you on this one chosen organizational habit that you're going to start as of like now, and then you implement what you've worked through and you have this written system or process for what you're doing in next to you as you're implementing it this week. And then you'll say, oh gosh, I forgot this one thing, or wow, okay, well, that didn't work. I'm going to change that and I'm going to do this instead. Ladies, this is the beginning of running your business like a business. And this organization, this increased productivity, this optimization of what you're doing. This is what Inc. 500 CEOs do. They don't run their business by the seat of their pants. They get organized. And by the way, one thing I didn't throw in here is, which could be an option for you, depending where you are in your business and things, is you say, you know what? I don't want to do this. One of two things. I'm going to have my VA, if they happen to be live with you, like local to you, I'm going to have her come in. And I'm going to pay her, whatever it is, to spend an hour or two every week to do what Judy's talking about. I'm going to let her figure it out. But she's going to write this system down. I'm going to review it. And I'm going to establish this as a process in my business, whether I'm doing it or somebody else is doing it. Okay. They can start that systematic, writing, but you need to review it because you need to make sure it makes sense for you and the way you want to do your business. This is your business after all. The second option is, hiring out and having kind of a director of ops for your business where, she's not just a VA where, I don't know, are you at a point in your business when you need way more than just organizational systems in place, but the whole back end of your business needs an overhaul. Okay. For some of you, that might make more sense, right? Okay. So listen, tell me what you're thinking. You know where to find me at Judy Weber Co, anywhere on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Let's connect. I want your feedback. And by the way, if you haven't yet left a rating or review here on iTunes or wherever you're listening, please go ahead and do that. It helps with our rankings. And that means more and more women who need to hear this, women who love the Lord Jesus Christ and are building businesses that matter, businesses that make a difference with big impact. The more the reviews and the more downloads and the more subscribers, all of that, the more this message can be heard around the world. Thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to hear from you about how these organizational habits are working for you in the days and weeks to come. And I look forward to seeing you next time.